Quick question. When did you last eat something that came in a package with more than 5 ingredients on the label? This morning? Yesterday? Be honest. Now, do you know what any of these ingredients actually do once they're inside your body? Not just they're bad for you in a vague general way, but they specifically do to your hormones, your testosterone, your estrogen, your cortisol, your insulin, especially in your 40s and beyond, when your hormonal system is already navigating a significant shift. Because here's what nobody put on the label. Ultra-processed food isn't just empty calories. It's an active hormonal disruptor. And in your 40s, that's the last thing you need from your lunch. Let's talk about what's actually going on. 15 years as a holistic nutritionist, and what that means is that I look at the whole person, body, mind, and spirit, not just one piece of the puzzle in isolation. And the food piece, specifically the ultra-processed food piece, comes up constantly with clients in their 40s who are dealing with everything they think, or doing everything they think they're supposed to be doing, and still feeling like their body is working against them. They're tired all the time, they've got weight that won't budge, sleep that is like shit, mood all over the place, hormones that feel completely unpredictable. Food is a massive piece of the puzzle, not in a you need to be perfect kind of way. I'm not here for that. But in a very specific, these ingredients are actively interfering with your hormonal system way. Once you understand the mechanism, the choices get a lot easier to make. First, what is ultra-processed food? It's not just junk food. It is anything that's been significantly altered from its original form and contains ingredients you wouldn't find in a home kitchen. Ingredients like emulsifiers, artificial flavors, color additives, preservatives, stabilizers, refined seed oils, flavor enhancers, sweeteners, both real and artificial. We're talking about packaged snacks, breakfast cereals, flavored yogurts, lunch meats, frozen meals, fast food, protein bars, diet foods, the stuff marketed as convenient, healthy, low-fat, high-protein. A massive portion is what most Canadians eat on a daily basis qualifies as ultra-processed. And in your 40s, when your body is already working harder to maintain hormonal balance, this shit hits differently. Here's how. Ultra-processed food is typically loaded with sugar and refined carbohydrates that spike blood sugar fast and hard. Every spike triggers an insulin response. In your 40s, insulin sensitivity naturally starts to decline. Your cells don't respond to insulin as efficiently as they used to. When you're dealing with when you're regularly hammering that system with processed carbs and sugar on top of already declining sensitivity, you get chronically elevated insulin. And chronically elevated insulin disrupts everything downstream. It increases cortisol, drives fat storage, particularly around the middle, suppresses sex hormone production in both men and women, and makes your energy crash predictably an hour after eating the meal. That mid-afternoon slump that has you reaching for something sweet or caffeinated, that's this. Testosterone. This one's for you, men. Men in their 40s are already dealing with a gradual, natural decline in testosterone. Ultra-processed foods accelerate that in 2 ways. First, chronic insulin elevation, we just talked about, directly suppresses testosterone production. Second, refined seed oils, canola, soybean, corn, sunflower, which are in almost every processed food, drive systemic inflammation. Chronic inflammation further suppresses testosterone and increases the conversion of testosterone to estrogen in men. Lower energy, reduced muscle mass, increased body fat, lower libido, irritability. These are the downstream effects, and they're being made worse by the food. Estrogen, this one's for you ladies. A lot of ultra-processed shit comes into contact with plastics during manufacturing, packaging, and storage. Plastics contain compounds, BPA and phthalates, which are the most well-known, that mimic estrogen in the body. these are called xenoestrogens. In your 40s, when estrogen is fluctuating as you move towards perimenopause or maybe menopause, adding a pile of fake estrogen signals from food packaging into the mix contributes to what is called estrogen dominance. That shows up as heavier periods, more intense PMS, breast tenderness, bloating, and mood changes that feel completely disproportionate to what's actually happening in your life. Cortisol. This one hits everyone differently, but it hits everyone. Chronic blood sugar instability from processed foods keeps cortisol elevated. Cortisol is your stress hormone, but it's also your fat storage hormone, the sleep disruptor, and the thing that makes every other hormonal imbalance worse when it's chronically high. High cortisol suppresses progesterone in women and testosterone in men. It drives belly fat storage in both. It keeps you wired when you should be winding down and exhausted when you need to be functional. And ultra-processed shit, by constantly destabilizing blood sugar, keeps cortisol in a state of low-grade chronic elevation that most people have just normalized as how they feel. Gut disruption and the hormonal ripple effect. Artificial sweeteners, emulsifiers, and additives in processed food alter gut bacteria in ways that impair hormone metabolism. Your gut microbiome plays a direct role in how your body processes and clears hormones, particularly estrogen. A disrupted gut means impaired hormone clearance, which means these hormones recirculate longer than they should. The diet version of something is not automatically better. It's just a different kind of problem with the same downstream mess. Here's the flip side, and this is where it gets genuinely useful. Your hormones are made from food. The raw materials for testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, and insulin all come from what you eat. So when you eat food that's been stripped of nutritional value and loaded with compounds that interfere with hormonal signaling, you're simultaneously starving your hormonal system of what it needs and jamming its signals at the same time. That's a double hit. Healthy fats, your sex hormones, testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone are made from cholesterol and fat. Avocados, olive oil, fatty fish, pasteurized eggs, grass-fed butter, nuts and seeds, these are the raw materials. Cutting fat in your 40s is genuinely counterproductive for hormonal health for men and women equally. Clean protein, pasture-raised eggs, wild-caught fish, organic poultry, grass-fed meat, not deli meat, not processed protein bars, not hot dogs. Processed and conventionally raised meats comes with its own chemical load. You're trying to reduce that, not add to it. Protein provides the amino acids your body needs to produce hormones, support liver clearance of used hormones, and stabilize blood sugar. All three matter enormously in your 40s. Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, cabbage, these support your liver's ability to process and clear out used hormones from your body efficiently. If your liver isn't clearing hormones properly, they recirculate, and that amplifies imbalance in both directions. Eat them daily. They are the most underrated hormonal support food there is, and they cost, like $2 or more a head. We're in Canada. Prices are ridiculous for groceries. Fiber, the whole food sources. Vegetables, legumes, whole grains. Fiber feeds the gut bacteria that support healthy hormone metabolism, stabilize blood sugar, which keeps insulin and cortisol in check, and keeps your elimination moving so processed hormones actually leave your body. Most people are getting half of what they need. This gap matters. Flax seeds contain plant compounds that help modulate estrogen activity, particularly useful during perimenopause for women, but also useful for men in managing estrogen balance. Ground flaxseed on your oatmeal or in a smoothie, cheap, easy, and genuinely useful. So you don't have to overhaul overhaul everything at once. That's not realistic, and it's not what I'd suggest anyway. What I'm asking is that you get curious about what's actually in your food and start making one swap at a time. Real ingredient lists, not just calories, not just calorie counts, the actual ingredients. If you can't picture where something came from, your body is probably having the same problem figuring out what to do with it. Cook from whole ingredients more often than not. It doesn't have to be complicated. A piece of fish and some roasted vegetables is not complicated. Eggs and greens, also not complicated. A big pot of something on Sunday that feeds you for 4 days is not complicated. Think stews, soups, chilies, and none of it spiking your insulin, suppressing your testosterone, or flooding your system with xenoestrogens. Swap the seed oils for olive oil, avocado oil, or butter. Replace processed snacks with whole food options, fruits, nuts, boiled eggs, cut vegetables. If you're buying something packaged, look for the shortest ingredient list with things you can actually recognize and pronounce. Not a perfect system, but a damn good filter. Your hormones are not malfunctioning in a vacuum. They are responding to inputs, and food is one of the most powerful inputs you have access to. In your 40s, whether you're a man whose testosterone is quietly declining or a woman whose estrogen is doing something new and unexpected every goddamn month, what you eat matters more, not less. The ultra-processed food industry has spent decades making their products convenient, addictive, and cheap. They didn't spend any of that time thinking about what it does to your hormones at 44. But now you know. And knowing changes what ends up in your cart. Start there, one swap at a time. It all adds up faster than you think. Subscribe for more No BS Nutrition. I'll see you in the next one.